So, a phrase I've heard a lot and continue to hear from a lot of people in the truth movement is everything that's happening is against us. And what if you flip that and just changed one word? Remove against and replace it with for. Everything that's happening right now is for humanity. And I know I'm going to trigger a lot of people by saying this, but please hear me out. If it doesn't resonate, that's fine. And this is what this is all about. We've got to reach unity consciousness and accept that other people are going to have different perspectives, and that's absolutely fine. But the way I see it right now is that everything that's happening, all of the suffering, all of the evil, is for our benefit. And the reason I say that is this. What does it take to get a human being to wake up? If you look at all of the individual experiences of people who've had an awakening, I don't think there's one example where it hasn't been preceded by a traumatic event. It is always a traumatic event that causes immense suffering and brings someone to the deepest, darkest depths and to their knees for them to actually make that consciousness shift and change the direction in their life and step into their true role and purpose. Every single time, it is always a traumatic event, it is always suffering that actually allows us to evolve and grow. So when you realise that we're all here for the Great Awakening, which we are in my view, this is happening on a global scale. So there is global suffering taking place, which means that there is going to be an exponential and unprecedented awakening. And slightly separate to what I've just said, if you have a look at, just zoom out and have a look very calmly from an observer's perspective at what is taking place. So at the moment, we've got a lot of fear-mongering about restrictions returning. Okay, masks, lockdowns, there's certain voices are coming up saying there's new variants and all this sort of stuff. And over the last year, if you've been paying attention, bit by bit by bit, the mainstream media, have been publishing articles showing the ineffectiveness of lockdowns, of restrictions, of masks. I've just seen one literally published yesterday about toxic chemicals in some of the N95 masks, right? This is a mainstream media article. It's a Daily Mail one. Go and have a look. You'll find it. And isn't it fitting that it was revealed yesterday, and at the very same time there's certain voices saying that we might have mask mandates coming back and we might have lockdowns coming back. So this disclosure operation has taken place over the last year, and what if they were to impose restrictions again after that? If this is to happen, and I don't know whether it's going to happen or not. It may not get to that at all. But if it does, I believe it's purely a test to see how awake humanity is, because all of the information now has been made public that people need to stand up. There is unprecedented evidence that lockdowns are destructive, damaging, and do absolutely nothing. There is a mountain of evidence that masks are damaging, and not one shred of evidence that they make any difference anywhere in the world. There's no evidence that they made any difference to transmission. Okay? All of this has been publicised. So this is purely a test if it's to happen. So when you start viewing things from this perspective, suddenly all of the pieces start to fit together, I think, and I see things very, very clearly. And as hard as it is to face that this could be all for our benefit, it does put you in a much better position. And I do believe this is what's happening, because we've had all this disclosure about the uselessness of the restrictions. So it would be a whopping wake-up call, wouldn't it, if the government, after all this, decided to reimpose these things. Do you see what I'm saying? So there is absolutely no need to be fearful right now, as far as I'm concerned. No need. Fear is what the dark is after. So there is no reason to be in fear. Break free of that and just observe what's happening. And you'll see that everything is designed now specifically to wake people up. And that unfortunately does mean that there has to be some suffering. And I believe that actually we set this forward before we incarnated here. I do feel that we planned this out meticulously. We created, as source consciousness, because we're all from source consciousness, we created a script, a movie, a show, so that each and every one of us, individual fractals of source, would wake up at the exact time and place that they needed to. So this is a divine plan. And you have to have darkness to show people the light. Controversial, I know, but that is where I stand and that is my truth. You're welcome to disagree with me. We need to get to a place of neutrality. So let me know what you think. But that's what I see.